And joining us all the way from the State House in Lagos, giving us an update. Well, we know that things are happening in Abuja already. We have the Vice President-elect already arrived. The Chief Justice is in. Many more people are arriving in Abuja. But right here in Lagos, what really is going on? Godfred, good morning to you.
Hello, Kayode.
Yeah, morning, Godfred. How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning, Kayode. Good morning, Lagos. So, am I on live?
You are live. Nigerians are listening to you right now. Where are you and what is happening there?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Godfred? Hello, Godfred.
Call me back in the next 3 minutes.
All right. Okay, so that is it. You know, today is a very busy day for everybody, particularly journalists and the guru. I remember when I was coming in this morning, I needed to take a shortcut because I wasn't sure what I'll meet in Apapa. I don't want any tanker to break down there, then I'm stuck on the street. So I needed to pass one company's compound. And when I got there 5 a.m., it was locked. And the man looked at me and said, "Oh, today is inauguration. It's a holiday." Anyway, let me just say, the railway compound in Apapa, today's inauguration, it's a holiday, and we're opening around 8 o'clock. I said, "Sir, I'm going to the office. I need to communicate with people. What do you do?" I told him. He looked at me. He's a police officer. He said, "Okay, let me open the door for you. Because you are a VIP." And he opened the gate. He didn't collect. He didn't ask for any money. I was quite impressed. He didn't ask. You laughed, sir. He didn't ask for any money. He just opened the gate and allowed me go. That because you're a VIP, I'm quite what you're going to do. So today is a very busy day for journalists. How are you doing, sir?
I am great. The man have probably concluded that we're going as a guest of the governor.
My car doesn't say that, sir.
Does that really matter much?
Yes, sir, in Nigeria. You can't car you drive.
You might be disguising, you might be pretending. But all the same, good morning, Lagos Trust 91.3 FM. We are about everything here today is about the inauguration now across the country, from the villa. No, it's not happening in the villa.
Eagle Square.
It's happening at Eagle Square. Where I know the president will be coming in, never to return back to the villa.
Yes.
At least not today. Then from the villa, from Eagle Square, he's taking a helicopter that is taking him to the airport.
001.
Then airport is going to Kaduna.
Is it Kaduna or Katsina?
Yeah. He's going to Kaduna to have some rest. And maybe the preparation for adequate security are not yet finished because he's going back home now to stay. He's going to meet his people, those he left behind. His people that have been expecting that day will bring something good for us.
And give an account.
And, okay, listeners, we have in the studio, as Kayode said, the former deputy political editor of this day newspaper, Eddie Odire. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
I decided, but you've introduced every other person. Did you introduce me?
Oh yes, sir. But I introduced you wrongly, sir. This is let me just say it the right way.
Wrongly.
This is
Nigeria is changing. Today is the first day of the change.
It's not. It's renewed. Change now. It's renewed hope.
No, it's changing to renewed hope.
Okay.
So if you change my presence here to a different thing, it will just be part of the changing into new hope.
That is it.
Is it to restore hope?
Renewed.
Okay. There was hope 1993, and there is now renewed hope.
Yes, sir.
23. The number 3 is odd. What shall be odd about all this, I wouldn't know, but for sure. I brought this in because I was explaining that Buhari returning back home.
Yes,
he had to. You have to pass through purgatory. Before crossing over to heaven. You have some days waiting. Why are you laughing? You are supposed to be teaching me this. Are you losing your posture as a vice assistant bishop under the Hope Affairs for Africa and Russia Matters? Now, my guest, or one of our guests here today, Eddie Odire. He visited Daura not too long ago. What he saw there would remain amazing in history. Sir, if you don't mind, because Buhari is going back to his people, the need for Buhari to take a recourse in Kaduna is probably what I'm probing into. Why the Kaduna is as a buffer zone? Because he definitely will be ending up in the area because he has a few cow heads and he needs to take care of it. Thank God the man has prepared. He's into ranching. He's ranched all his cows there. Either the sheep, like as they do it in Rwanda, is there or not. But the expectation of the people, would they be welcoming him as much as that? Would the welcome be short-lived? The experience of our guest, probably. Sir, you were in Daura not too long ago and you saw something. Can you just tell us within a minute or two what you saw?
Yeah, well, it's pretty about a year past now that I was in Daura. It was at the turbaning of my friend, the former Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi. I do recall very clearly that that's hot afternoon after the ceremony. We were waiting to, I think, drive to Kaduna. And then a senator who hosted us, his driver took, I think they had some souvenirs like T-shirts and all that they wanted to give to some people. As soon as the driver opened the boot, oh my God, all the boys there just swarmed on the boot and started carrying every bag, including mine.
Cutting everything away?
Cutting everything away. In fact, I didn't know because I was in front of the car. So then I just saw them struggling and tearing things apart. Trying to pick things that are in the bags, in the various bags. It was later on I just saw that I saw a towel that is mine that was being taken. I said, what? Is that not my towel? Until I looked and saw that everybody's bag had been carted away from the boot. And
that was in Daura, you say?
Yeah, that was in Daura. And it was clearly significant of the hunger in that zone.
Thank you. That's where I'm going. That would be the president's problem. It shouldn't be our problem here. So, but you needed that buffer zone to make
it's a Nigerian problem.
Okay. You are right. It's Nigeria problem. So he needs that buffer zone call to make sure everything back home. And there are things he cannot put right now because of his failure to put it right
back then.
When he was failing for the past 8 years to put them right, it wasn't because of my village only. It is Nigerian problem. And is that the president-elect coming in?
That might be the president-elect, probably.
Because the vice president-elect has
arrived. And there's no... there's a Nigerian flag on this one. Should he be flying the Nigerian flag yet?
No.
Not yet. It shouldn't be. Yeah, so that should not be him. That's the emphasis I was trying to make. But if it is him, then that is a breach of protocol.
So today is a very, very good day. At least there is a peaceful transfer of power.
Yeah.
And the court or no court, we had always said it, by the presence of the law, the Electoral Act of 2020.
2022.
Sorry, 2022, yeah. Thank you very much for that correction. I'm looking at this because I did not get my invitation card. Somebody told me it was stolen. And the immigration across the border in Ghana have just picked it up. But how would I get it so as to be attending? Now, the Constitution, the Electoral Act gave 180 days from the moment of declaring a candidate for the litigation about that to finish.
Yes, sir.
It could be finished before then, but what the law says is that you have only 180 days only. Then the liberty to move to the Supreme Court as final arbiter is there, and that takes 60. So you have total of 240 days. Is that not about 8 months?
Yeah, that's 8 months.
So those who are crying, those who are those who went to court, I would always praise them because that is enriching jurisprudence.
Yes, sir.
So, but it does not stop anything, and that's what we're having today. So the mere fact that we are having another transfer of power from one person to another very peacefully in a democratic setup gives me my joy. That's a very, very great joy. And again, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, much is expected of him. In his various presses, he has always done great things. So we are expecting that all things being equal, he definitely will do something great. And of course, the wife made a statement on Sunday. I think Sunday was yesterday.
Sir, before you continue, sir, we have a correspondent from the State House in Lagos, Godfrey Gabriel, joining us. Good morning, Godfrey. How are you doing today? Hello, Godfrey.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
Great. We have in the studio our colleagues. Of course, we have Kofi Bartels right here with us in the studio. We have a veteran journalist, Godin Etakibuebu, and we have another senior colleague, Mr. Eddie Odiwe. I hope I got the name right.
Odiwe, yeah.
Odiwe, yes.
80%.
80%. So,
Godfrey, can you give us a sense of what's happening? Where exactly are you?
Yeah, sorry, I can hear you partially, but if you can hear me, I think we are good to go.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Let's hear you. Kofi is...
as you can see, there's so much noise emanating from the TBS. So much noise emanating from the TBS, and I think it's also expected. This is the venue of the inauguration of Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu and Mr. Babafemi Hamzat for their second term of office. And this is almost set. The event was originally scheduled to commence at 9 a.m. prompt, but that has not been the case. I just want to give a brief situation report as it is right now.
Before you continue, can you hear me, Godfrey?
A very daunting task.
Godfrey, can you hear me?
I can hear you partially.
All right, just before you continue, you said it was meant to start at 9 a.m. This is 9:43. What happened?
Yes, we have been having issues with security this year. You will be shocked that they shut all the entrance to the TV, to the TBS. So we couldn't go in. Not just the press. Everybody were involved. The security, lawmakers, the House of Assembly could not find their way in. Members of the ESCO could not find themselves in. Including traditional rulers, couldn't find their way in. So it was, we don't really know who gave the instructions. There was almost a peace at the point of entry. I thought the earpiece got destroyed. So I'm using the borrowed earpiece right now to talk to you.
Wow.
So I don't know, the security operators did not get this right. I must say that. I think it was at 9:30 this morning.
All right. We're losing your connection.
People have entered. I'm also in the metro right now.
All right, Godfrey. So, can you give us a sense of what the atmosphere is like at the TBS member where you are? Just describe the atmosphere and the environment to us. All right.
Please repeat.
Yeah, just give us a sense of what is happening there right now. Just describe,
Yeah, as it is presently, nothing is happening at the moment. The police van is set, but they have not been given the go-ahead. The governor is yet to arrive at this. Some dignitaries are still coming in. I see some foreigners coming in now. But at the time I was talking earlier, even foreigners could not come in. So it was as bad as that. But as it is, I think, gradually. So I'm looking at the next 10, 15 minutes, the program might kick off. And we also told that it might not take long for this program to be concluded because the governor is also expected to move to Abuja to grace the inauguration of the elected president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So that's how it is at the moment.
All right. Okay. All right, Godfrey. We'll be looking forward to hearing more from you, especially with
Sorry, if you are speaking to me, move closer to the microphone.
Okay, I think that is on the right mic. I don't know if he can't hear me. Yeah. Godfrey, I'm saying we're looking forward to hearing from you in the not too distant future. Maybe tell us which dignitaries are there, who is there, and all that. We'll call you back. All right,
Godfrey, can you hear us? We'll reach out to you shortly to give us an update on what is happening where you are.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
All right, we'll reach out to you shortly to give you an update, so you can give us an update on what is happening where you are. We know that, just like you said, you haven't started. But before you go, when are they likely, as a new start time been stated by the event planners?
Could you please repeat?
I just asked you if a new time has been made available, a new start time for the inauguration. Has that been announced yet?
Sorry, it has not been announced. It has not been announced. And it's very interesting to know also that prior to this time, no e-program was prepared. I personally prepared the e-program from the public affairs officer early this morning, and he said he had no access to it. Wow. So we don't know what the program is like up to this point in time. We don't know what the program is like. We don't know what they have lined up. We don't know the activities they have lined up for this occasion. All right.
Thank you so much. So we'll keep tabs with you. Maybe we'll reach out to you in like an hour to find out what is going on there. That is if Abuja allows us.
Reach out to me in the next 15 minutes.
15 minutes. All right. Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting to note, Guru, that the heads of the legislature, outgoing 9th National Assembly, just walked to their seats, I think, as protocol demands. Yeah, but it seems like the Eagle Square is becoming a bit rowdy, so we'll keep watching to see what happens. I spotted what looks like some men in military official regalia trying to stop some guys in suit, probably aides or DSS or something, from getting into the inner perimeter. So I just hope that everything goes smoothly with that.
I think that is the president-elect.
That's the president-elect just walked in now. Yeah.
Yes. By observation, this is an inauguration like no other one.
Why is that?
Because the stakes are very, very high.
Okay.
The stakes are very, very high. And the government of the day is not leaving any stone unturned, nothing to be taken for granted. Don't forget that a few days ago, some cache of arms were discovered somewhere close to Abuja. Because the security have been taking every necessary step to make sure that safety is guaranteed of the candidate they elect, who will in the next 1 hour become the president, of every dignitary that is coming there. So the security have been combing
the entire area
in situations like this. Like starting from 7 nights ago, the security will be passing that same road almost 5 times every night. Every tree that is too close to the road would have been cut down. No, that's security. That's security. That's how you do security. Because perfect snappers spread all over the world, and they could pick something within 100 meters, picked it up, and because they have the guns for that. And you wouldn't want a snapper to be on top of a tree, because in the world of assassin or in the world of assassination, those professional killers, mostly the snappers, they will be on top of a place for up to 7 days. No food, nothing. And they will not move their body. That's what they are trained for. And this must be taken care of. So that is why this is an inauguration. Again, the reminder that this matter is bearing in court. Why are you swearing in somebody? Or why it has been moved? Then don't forget again that another thing that made 2023 election like no other one before was the swagger and the ginger of the youth. It now have been identified that it came all the way from SARS Mosque.
Yeah, NSAS.
NSAS protest. So it is for that. Odiri, you have something to add to that, please?
Well, perhaps we should start off from the point of the cosmic element and the significance of the rain this morning. Because as much as I know, I have not quite remembered rain falling on any inauguration day.
Okay.
Even though, I can agree and accept that this is rainy season, but we have always been spared this shower. And I would think that the rain this morning is significant in terms of cosmic analysis of the things that we do not see or know. So I would leave that to cosmic analyst to interpret.
You're going metaphysical this morning.
To interpret the significance of the rain this morning. It rained both here in Lagos and in Abuja.
I was just going to ask. I haven't got feedback.
That when I was watching before I came to the studio, the channels correspondents that were at the Eagle Square, it was really raining, and I could see it, and they were remarking on that. Well, having said that, perhaps the other concern really is the judicial process that should usher in an elected president. Yes, you've talked about 240 days, which ordinarily should be enough for any adjudication, perhaps enough for any adjudication arising from the electoral process, electoral contest. But I do not think that they were also faithful to the arithmetic calculations of those 240, because it's not too long that the court started listening to the cases and reviewing, and here we are. The matter is still going on, and then we are about swearing in a new president. And we should know that as soon as he takes the oath of office, Section 308 of the Nigerian Constitution that grants him immunity comes into force. And so he is not likely going to face prosecution as a result of that electoral process. So I would think that this is an electoral gap. It's a gap in the judicial process that should be amended maybe by the 10th Assembly. And I would think that the framers of the Constitution should even know that all such disputations that precede the election of any, either as the president or as the governor, should ordinarily be completed before those persons take office. I think that is
the section, sorry sir, the section that you quoted now is quite relevant. I think Guru spoke about it sometime last week as well. Yes. But the question here is that, is the president, well, in a few minutes I will stop using elect, so let's just get used to the president. The incoming president, is it the one being challenged in court, or is it the process that is being challenged in court? Is it INEC, the process, or who? Because previously we've seen this being done. Does that mean there has been a violation of the constitution all along, or because the man in question is just a part of the process, that's why he has to answer to it in an event where if it goes wrong, then he has to obey?
He's a party to the suit.
The suit, yes.
Yes, you sue INEC, you sue the process, but all of that culminates in the election of a particular candidate. So that you cannot be insulated from that process without bringing him in. You cannot just be talking about INEC not fulfilling. Who is the major beneficiary of INEC's flaws? It's somebody. Eventually it gets to him. I'm sure you are trying to refer to the cases of the Imo State governor thrown out even after he had been sworn.
Exactly.
Like that.
I mean, and comparing it with previous presidents where they've allowed them, of course, the president do not attend the proceedings, but their party and other people attend, and of course it's okay. It's not a bad thing, let him continue. But if it had gone the other way and the president was asked to step down, would that have been a violation of the law? Is the Imo State issue a violation of the law as well?
Okay. Let me see a word here.
Okay.
In the first place, the process is being challenged, but the process was never sued. The matter in court is against the beneficiary of the results declared, against the party that presented him as a candidate to go into that.
The vice president has just arrived.
Then INEC, the cumbersome of these litigational processes might not be a proper subject here today. But since Nigeria, from long time now, except few occasions, allowed the process of who leads us, who become president, to be decided by the judiciary, we keep having this problem. Thank God to Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who did not allow such to happen. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan picked the phone, called the president-elect, and congratulated him, thereby cutting off all those that have the mind of going to court. Now, having said that,
yes,
we now know that every other processes of bringing our presidency or president to being had always been left for the judiciary. In 1979, it was the judiciary who decided for us who our president should be.
12 to 10.
Yes, and part of that judgment, which must be very, very significant now as we sit here, is that as the judgment was delivered, the judiciary embargoed the judgment from being a precedent in any legal talk all over the world. So it is banished by judicial pronouncement. That is number one. Number two is that when the judgment was given, the Supreme Court, I think that the chairman of the panel, the 5 or 7 of them, is the late Douglas Graham. He told us that it will take 6 months before they will let the public know why that judgment was given in such a way. And 6 months later, they came to explain to us that judgment was not balancing justice.
Exactly.
That judgment was balancing security. And now the man went to quote 2 major things why the judgment should go that way as against the way of justice. One of them was that as of that time that the matter was in their court, that head of state Olusegun Obasanjo was already conducting Shehu Shagari round the Doda Barracks kitchenette, and that it would be too awkward for somebody who is saying that to now announce that this man that is being conducted around there is not a winner. That's number one he gave. Number two he gave is that given the fact that the artillery of the military had been really positioned in Tafawa Balewa Square to celebrate that, any judgment that would have cancelled the purposes of the celebration, which the artilleries were meant to hold, those artillery could come against the people. And when it comes to that Nigeria will be in chaos.
So what it tells you is that those judgments were in sheer judicial expediency, not necessarily executing justice. Yes, because if you are just trying to protect the status quo so that there will be no disruption in the social status of governance, it means that you are just trying to ensure that peace reigns, as it were, not necessarily that your judgment is founded on the ethics and ethos of justice.
It appears they were looking at the spirits,
and that
not
is
the
exactly
letter.
the same thing that is happening here. Because because that is, I can see that is why I'm not even so much hopeful that this judicial process will end otherwise, as it were. You can even see the confidence with which the president-elect
But I have a question to ask. Is this known, Guru, to jurisprudence, where you take a decision in other interests, not trying to execute justice?
Yes. Okay. Look at the case in Kenya. The Kenyan government, after the man had been sworn in, the judiciary threw him out and said, no, the process was not right. I mean, we should just stay close to what the law has prescribed. Does the Electoral Act support this? Look at the case in Turkey. That just how many percentage that the man
52 to 47.
Yes, and they insisted that they should go back for a rerun, and they went back for a rerun, and the man just won yesterday. Now,
thank you for that. That is why, again, somebody talk about the security. Then I said, this is an inauguration like no one before.
Yes.
It is for partly reasons you've given now, which you spoke about, that the security was taken to the highest mountain. Because, one, if you look what has happened, and if you read the judgment of the 1979 Supreme Court on Shehu Shagari, Obafemi Awolowo,
the 12 to 3rd.
12 to 3rd decided. Now, everything and even more than what played then, they are playing out now. First and foremost, for the first time, the office of First Lady remains unconstitutional.
Sorry, the Guru. I think the Vice President arrived about 5 minutes ago. Yeah. There's another car that is coming in. I think that's the President coming in. And I heard there was an update that the Vice President actually arrived on time. According to the schedule, it was supposed to be there about 9:55, and he actually arrived at 9:55 on the dot.
Yes.
And now, after what's it called? Yeah, that's the First Lady coming out of the car. And just before now, the anthem was played for the Vice President. And, so Madam Aisha Buhari is coming in. At least now there's proof that she's not in Dubai, she's in Nigeria. For everybody that's been
again, I was
in Eagle Square. Yes, sir.
I was saying a word.
Yes, sir.
Before you pointed this out. I was saying that the office of First Lady is very, very unconstitutional in
Nigeria.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
But now we saw a position that the President's wife, Buhari's wife, Aisha Buhari, prepared memo and everything, and handed over to the wife of the president-elect.
Is that how it's been before now?
No.
They don't hand over?
Not that. In the first place, is the office constitutional?
No, I know, but I'm just saying, before singling her out, I think, as we've always had that office, people taking it up.
The taking round, the supervision and the overriding visit round. Had never been like this before.
But no president talked about the other room. So I'm sure she went to show the incoming First Lady the other room.
For all this, for the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo,
yes, sir,
took the Vice President-elect Shetima tour of his place. Then the President took the President-elect tour of the place. And of course, handing over had been made since, was it Thursday last week? To me, handing over had been made. What we have waiting for today is the swearing in by the Oga Judiciary, the Chief Justice of the Federation. Otherwise, all those things have been completed. So if the judgment of 1979 says that, in view of those things, nobody will give judgment that will ally with justice, but ally with events. So, and more things that are akin to that had happened now. Why would you want to expect a different judgment from what we got into?
But there is a respected lawyer that I interviewed some time ago who told me one thing. He said, when a case is in front of a judge, and that's why I quoted the letter and the spirit, he said the judge considers both. That in an event where it gives a judgment and it will completely upset the nation, even if that judgment is about to give might be the right one, he might not give that judgment for the safety and the unity of the nation.
That's the expediency issue.
Yes. So those are the realities that are on the ground. And like you said, maybe if we're able to wrap up everything before the swearing in. But again, I've heard people say before now that we could have actually concluded these things before the swearing in. And I said that's possible. Then it's time for us to start the proper litigation, and parties are asking for 7 weeks to try their witnesses. And I'm saying, okay, so how can we ask for 7 weeks and yet want to finish this thing in time? Couldn't the parties themselves have said, okay, we want to do this within a week? These are the people we have.
No. Yes,
you'll be at the mercy of the
your expression is valid to the limit of sentiments, not within the coven of legality.
Okay.
Because there is a document which is one of the ruling documents, which is called the Electoral Law Act, that stipulates 186 or 180 days.
Yes.
You cannot abridge that.
But they could finish. I've heard lawyers say they could finish before.
Hold on. Finishing it again is sentiment of individualism. Let us not triumph on that. Because a lawyer will tell you that 7 days is enough. And another lawyer will tell you that even 100 days may not be enough. Then there is a country that gave 24 days to finish this thing. And they will finish it. For example, the pre-trial matters. the Nigeria practice today, the legal practice of Nigeria, gave adequate room with number of days for pre-trial matters, either a civil matter, either a debt matter, or whatever you have. So you cannot throw it away until the matter is legalized. There is need for the National Assembly to take this in and come out with something clean. Of course, why must we go on 80 days, another 60 days? All these things can be completed in just 60 days.
All right.
Meaning the Supreme Court and the originating court or the tribunal originating place, which is Court of Appeal, it can be finished in 60 days. But if it is not so written, then the lapses will play to the benefit of the litigants. So the first assignment, in my own humble opinion, that the incoming National Assembly must do is to go and do that, carry out the amendment, give maximum of 40, 60 days. But then I will be quick to challenge myself. Which National Assembly would I be referring to now? Is it the one that shall be inaugurated on the 11th of June this year, a few moments from now? I will want to look at the composition and the originating powers that is putting the 10th National Assembly into position. And if that is what it means that the 10th National Assembly will just be a reflection of the 9th National Assembly, even in a bigger way. Meaning that might not be their first priority. Because somebody is most likely to tell them that the way you are going is not good. Let this person be sworn in before any other thing.
It certainly would be their priority. It certainly would not be their priority.
It can never. That's why the mechanism putting this 10th Assembly together now is emanating from this that we so defined.
Exactly.
So it cannot be.
But the Guru, you must also realize that the way it is structured.
Oh, the president is here.
I think is arriving, while watching the arrival of the president, our correspondent just hinted us that William Ruto of Kenya, Stalwart Zewde of Ethiopia, and Samia Suluhu Hassan of Tanzania, and Paul Kagame of Rwanda, and the Vice Premier of China are all present as we speak.
Cyril Ramaphosa as well.
Cyril Ramaphosa is also there. So presidents are seated, waiting
and the
for
delegates of America, led by the Secretary Housing, and
that of the UK as well. They would have been there by now. Yes.
By now.
Yes. And of course, you have our royal fathers who are there. But really, while we look at all this, I'm just wondering that where we are today. How do you feel? Do you feel comfortable? I mean, in view of all the spiritual utterances that have been made, the prophetic utterances, the individual perceptions, what's your expectation of today's swearing in?
Maybe you need to break it down. So
no, I don't want to.
There will be prophecies that something will happen today.
Sorry, Odibu, you are going to answer his question.
Yes,
but what are you scared of?
No, I'm just asking. In parables.
Why are you speaking parable here?
And with my elders. So
you started. You introduced it. So
answer him.
I'm aware that
despite his fearful approach.
I'm aware that some coalition of witches have been meeting and they have been giving some pronouncements.
Okay.
I'm also aware that a lot of prophets and prophecies have said this day will not come to be, that this action, this activity will not take place. Even just 3 days ago, I was still listening to somebody who said, the Lord said, and I was countering them on our platform that will not happen because the indices on the surface are clearly indicative that all of this will be realized. Well, it's metaphysics, and nobody can quite speak so much into the future with so much certitude. Enough to say that the ceremony is about to, in fact, it has started. It has started, and it will be consummated properly, and all that has been planned will take place. What would happen 10 hours from now, 7 days from now, or whatever, is what we cannot tell. But enough to say that the swearing in and the inauguration are very much on course, and it will take place. And in a short while, we'll have a new president in Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
All right. Well, these are just some of the honest opinions that we have today.
Gentlemen, I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I esteemed a journalist in the studio. You talked about, being experienced as a judge. Let's say this petition goes all the way to the Supreme Court, and the judiciary taking a decision in the interest of peace in the country. The first question on my mind, I have two questions. Number one, does it mean that Lady Justice is no longer blind? Because that blindfold, on Lady Justice with the sword in one hand and the balance in the other is supposed to mean something. So what do you say to that? That's number one. Number two, how are we to tell which decision will be in the interest of peace? Because nobody has a monopoly of unrest. It could be that they take a decision one way and it leads to unrest. They take it another way and it leads to unrest. And it's been said that without justice, there's no peace. So isn't justice, a real, true justice, really in the interest of peace? And not taking a decision one thinks will preempt any chaos?
Let me take it from the last question. I think the Englishman who originated the word expediency has this confusion in mind in bringing out that word. But let me just say that the overall interest of the country would be paramount in the mind of the officers of the law, the judicial officers who have to make a pronouncement. Like the Guru said, if any pronouncement would lead to a complete chaos in the country, every judge worth his silk would want to be a little circumspect in making such a declaration so obvious. I just cited the case of the Kenyan election where it was turned down. But again, Kenya is not Nigeria. The volatility in Nigeria is far more than that of Kenya.
More complex.
Now, the only other worry is if this status quo is the established norm, then there's no point ever contesting anything in the law, in going to court, because you know that, because certain persons would get it anyhow, get whatever they want anyhow, and it will not be unturned, then there will be no point ever contesting it at all. But to answer your first question, whether Lady Justice is still blind, yes, it comes down to the same issue. It's still blind, but it is being motivated and driven by people whose eyes are open. The eyes of the people who would apply the whims of the Lady Justice are open. It is the Lady Justice whose eyes is blind, but the people who are activating her and powering her, their eyes are wide open, and they are circumscribed by the environment that they have, and that is a big factor. The late dear, some time ago when he was CGS, while delivering a lecture at Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, had said, and I quote him, that judges have two judgments.
One in the right pocket.
One on the right pocket and one in the left pocket.
No, when he was chief of staff.
Yes.
Not,
okay.
Chief
of
defense.
Was he chief of staff at the time?
He was chief of staff to.
Okay, and he did it at NIA. I remember I covered that event, and he said judges always have two judgments: one on the left pocket and the other one on the right pocket, and depending on how they were settled, and that is how the judge will read the judgment of the one that pleases him most. And
surprisingly, he even added that, and you as a lawyer cannot fault any of the two judgments.
That is the point I'm even going to. That each of the positions will be so backed with logic and legalism that you hardly can fault it, because it will be so synthesized in terms of logic and jurisprudence, that you cannot say this is not true. So it also shows the volatility of law, as it were. But I think in all things, we should, like you rightly said, peace without justice cannot last. And justice must be the foundation of every peace. If we sacrifice justice, then it will be very transient peace.
Okay. The president is here.
Oh, great.
President Muhammad Buhari is here now, greeting people. In the next few minutes, thing will take off.
Guru, yesterday he said his cows in Daura are easier to control than Nigeria.
Oh, really?
Yes. I don't know because he says he can't wait to go back. I know you caught that. I was thinking you say something about
one of the questions that in anticipating the calmness that is prevailing now, and those who anticipate that could there be any upheaval coming up, the major number one witness for those is President Muhammadu Buhari. President Muhammadu Buhari made a statement. He said his neighbor, Niger Republic, will defend him. At what time? He said after the handing over, if some people are coming to make trouble. The question, what did President Buhari see that he didn't want to tell us? On that, because we are celebrating the handing over, we are celebrating everything. Let me bring a point out here.
But just before you continue, sir, the ceremony has actually officially started. The prayer is about to be said, and the person saying the prayer will be announced shortly. I think that is the Akin president for Lagos that'll be saying the Christian prayer. I think that's him, Mr. I can't remember his name now, Bishop. I'll get his name shortly, but I think that's him. I see his face there, the Akin president of Lagos. He should be the one, I believe, will be saying the prayer. Now the Muslim prayer is ongoing for those of us that are monitoring, but the conversation will continue here. When we get into the key activities of the ceremony, we will switch over to Abuja to give you a live update. Back to you, sir.
Now, on that day, 24th of May, which must be just 5 days ago.
Yes, sir.
This is what the president said. Quote him. If Nigerians make the country difficult to live in after the handing over ceremony, Niger Republic will defend me. If you want to interpret that, it is deeper than what your eyes can easily catch on the surface. Why did the man think of some Nigeria making Nigeria difficult after the handing over? He's the only one with all means of sources of information in this world. Intelligence. The NID has him. The DSSS has him. All of them are together. Now, he has sources to information. He has sources to intelligence more than any other human being in Nigeria. Ditto, as Tinubu is coming in, he will gain access to those. Now, but if the man, President Muhammadu Buhari, should make this statement on 24th of May, just 5 days ago, saying that if Nigerians make the country difficult to live in after the handover ceremony, it means he has intelligence that he doesn't want to share with us. Then he told you, for those of you who pursue us, so you cannot catch up with me because I'm crossing over to my other home, to Niger Republic.
But the Guru, before we even introduce the guest or go back to the TV, to the square, Eagle Square, I think what is said, it's one thing to read the pages of the papers, and it's another thing to watch the video. I think what is said was a distasteful joke.
Distasteful joke, eh?
Thank you. Very well.
A distasteful joke.
Yes,
it was a distasteful joke that shouldn't come from somebody of his caliber.
Thank you.
Yeah, but because even when he said it, he was saying it with a smile on his face. And I can't remember the words that he said before then, but I think he was just talking about how...
if people disturb him, that if they disturb him, he would just move over to Niger.
To Niger, exactly.
And that was why Tinubu also was saying that no matter how you protest, we'll still come and knock at your door.
Yes,
that's the reason.
So the disturbance there wasn't like a civil unrest.
Kayode,
yes,
you called it a distasteful
joke.
Joke.
Yes, sir.
You call it a joke carried too far.
Yes.
So why would you want to bring me to the dock now to defend myself?
I will say
The
this
man said, if Nigerians make the country difficult to live in after handover ceremony.
Yes.
But the guru said, if. What if they don't? So he will remain here.
By that word, if.
If they don't,
For
he will
a man
remain
with
here.
such privileges of intelligence report, is there not something he might have seen or heard that he wouldn't want you to share?
It is
with
in the
you?
womb of time.
And he told you that I have my escape route. I've prepared it. Kayode, have you prepared your escape route?
My escape route is in the Lord. Hallelujah.
That's good. And you are not telling me that it was a joke carried too far. He started it. It is part of, we are talking of maximization of security now.
Yes, sir.
It is part of it. And like as I said earlier on, a few days ago, arms were found not too far from Abuja there by the security. So why all this? We are just, but the great joy is that today, Bola Tinubu in a few minutes time will become President Bola Tinubu.
Sir.
And this is smooth handing over.
That's very true. I just saw the picture of the vice president. One thing I don't like that Nigeria did to the vice president is that they made the vice president age like 3 times quicker. When he came in, his hair was dark, was looking very youthful, but he's leaving the seat of power almost spent.
Was that peculiar to the vice president? Do you see the hair of Fashola?
I tell you.
Fashola, the wife made a public statement.
Yes, sir.
That before my husband came to office, you can hardly count the white hair. And now, only 4 years after, you can hardly see
the
black. But then the question, the responsibility is enormous. Let us not run away.
It is.
But sometimes, most of them, it is what they take out of the responsibility, which must not be made known to you, that quicken those processes. So let's leave the matter like that.
All right. Like I said, the inauguration has started. The Christian prayer is currently ongoing. And we'll patch you to the Eagle Square shortly. But before then, we have 2 other very important persons joining us today. We're having analysis from a different perspective today. A member of the APC, Honorable Dayo Alebiosu, a stalwart and committed politicians and policy analyst. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Kayode. Thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you for joining us this morning. And we have another politician joining us right here. He participated in the recent past election. That's February 25th, right? That's the day the governorship election took place. Yes, NRM governorship candidate for Lagos State, Mr. Akin Braithwaite.
Thank you very much, Kayode. Good morning, and good morning, Lagos. Great to be here.
Great. Good to have you all join us this morning, and thank you for the time you've accorded us this morning. Later on, we'll get to know, Mr. Braithwaite, what your experience was, in the governorship race. But today is all about the swearing in, and so that Nigerians won't swear for us for debating. So we'll focus a lot more.
You believe they are swearing for somebody?
So we'll focus on that for now, but we will definitely come back. Well, before we patch on to Abuja to know what is happening there, let's come to you quickly, Mr. Honorable Dayo Bush. What is the mood like today for an average politician who is in support of the incoming president or the APC family?
Well, the mood is basically a celebration of victory. That's what elections are about. First of all, one of the numerous things elections is about besides serving and governance. Well, for those who participated and who gave their total support towards APC's emergence, obviously everybody is excited. You can see the Eagle Square at the moment. The average person on the street is quite happy. People are looking forward to a better Nigeria. They're looking to better living conditions and all. So I think basically there's anxiety out there. That much I can say. I'm quite excited. I can't wait for what comes up next.
All right. You can't wait. Many Nigerians are also waiting to see what comes out next. But Mr. Akin Braithwaite, you are in the opposition. You are one of those that believe Nigeria can be run better. What is the mood? What is your mood like today? How do you feel? And I don't want you to say mixed feelings. I want you to be very specific on how you feel this morning.
Well, the word that comes to my mind when you ask the question is maybe pensive. One has to consider, just looking at the facts, if the new president has managed to just garner, say, a third of the overall numbers, then it means, that over 60% of the population, in terms of the voting population, didn't really vote for him. So to that extent, you would imagine that you're talking about the minority government. So how does that play? How does that square out? I'm not sure we've been here before. So in that sense, it would be, it's my hope that it translates into something that can convince those who were in opposition that, one, there will be a move towards, because if I were him, for example, I would be asking myself, why didn't so many people vote for me? And what is it that they want that is lacking? What is it that they saw in the outgoing government that has to be corrected? So it's either we're going to bury our heads in the sand, or we're going to face up like men and say, hey, look, this is what is lacking. Let's fix it.
All right. And yesterday, I heard the First Lady, the incoming First Lady. Very soon we need to stop this incoming and outgoing in a few hours so that we can just have first and
Not
second.
3 hours, a few minutes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I heard her say categorically that her family does not need Nigeria's money. And they have enough, they just want to serve. Do you think that...
they are blessed.
They are blessed, exactly. Let me even ask Mr. Akin Braithwaite that. I know the response, the likely response you give me, so let me come to Mr. Braithwaite. Do you think, is that something that Nigerians should make us happy? And what do you make of that statement? Is there sincerity in it?
Well, I guess the obvious thought that evokes is, where's the asset declaration? I have no means of knowing exactly what the incoming president, if I can use that term, as family is worth. I think that there is a need, obviously, for our public servants to declare their assets, declare their worth. So whatever it is that has been ascribed to her, it's really, really difficult to comment and be sure about the veracity of how well they've been blessed. And how does one measure God's blessings? Is it in terms of the amount of money that's in a vault, or is it by health? So I think that, really at this point, political and public office persons should be very, very sensitive to, especially when you're talking about a country where there's 133 million living in multidimensional poverty. So we really need to start being careful of the emotions that we're evoking.
Don't you think we should be moving to Abuja?
We should be moving to Abuja, but the signal we have is not clear. So that's what we're trying to change, yes. Yeah. So go ahead while we try to resolve that. Go ahead, sir, with that.
Yeah, I believe I don't want to belabor the point, but I think it's important that we do all, aspire to have a government that will be giving us good governance, that looks at the issue of how can the people be happy.
Okay, great. Now I think we have a clearer feed, so we'll be crossing over to the Eagle Square to get, an update on what really is happening right there with Nigeria, what the future of Nigeria sounds like.
That I will not allow my personal interest to influence my official conduct or my official decisions. That I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God.
right, Kayode, well, just to inform you and your host, he's signing what seems to be some sort of document. He will tell us more about that. And this is customary. This is 4 years ago, Vice President Leadership did the same thing. And of course, I can see there's a bag.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the still event unfolding here at the Iposu Square, Abuja, Nigeria. Venue for the presidential inauguration and swearing-in ceremony between the outgoing president and the president-elect of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I was just going to talk about that. I can only imagine what the wife is actually thinking right now, because he's looking the vice president, the second lady. You know.
Well, we told that is not constitutional, so you might be in breach of the constitution. So you have to be careful.
So the wife of the vice president, at least that's constitutional. You know, so they are signing now.
You know that the other room was what we had last.
The other room, yes.
The other room.
The other room.
So we don't know if there will be other room in this
one.
The other room is always there. Kayode, you have your other room. So don't pretend that you don't have full interpretation of this. Now, what will be going through the mind of the wife was the question you asked.
Yes, sir.
What else will be going through her mind than joy and seeing herself be fulfilled? Mostly knowing fully that though the office of the vice president, the office of the Nigeria vice is the poorest office of a vice presidency in the whole world.
Office of the vice president?
Nigeria vice president.
I see.
It's nothing but a spare tire.
Okay.
Only one responsibility was mentioned by the Constitution.
Is even not very clear.
That responsibility was becoming the chairman of the Economic
Council.
Now, and if you read that section, is this section 3 or something? It says subject to approval of the president.
His Excellency, Vice President Kashim Shettima, Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger. Congratulations, Your Excellency. At this point, may I crave the indulgence of the Commander?
The Vice President has just been sworn in right now.
Yes.
New Vice President.
I was saying the joy of the wife would be her knowledge would tell her that though my husband is his spare tire, but by imagination of anything, and that thing I wouldn't know, my husband will become the president. That thing I wouldn't know. But by imagination of something, my husband will become the president. But outside that, they have opportunity to make.
When will the husband become the president?
Huh?
When?
I said I don't even know, but
Mr. Edio, what you are going into now. But let's come to Mr. Dayo Bush right now. The vice president has just been sworn in.
Correct.
There are things we know about the vice president. Of course, he's been a banker. He's worked. He's been a governor and of a state.
Senator.
A senator, and he's been credited with some bad reputation. But really, what are we looking at in this vice president? Because it's going to be the head of the Economic Council. What really are we looking at?
Subject to approval of the president.
Whatever decision they take, we'll still go back to the president. Yes.
It's constitutional, but subject.
There's no history of any president refusing that.
No. You were here when President Muhammad Buhari snatched everything from Yemi Osinbajo.
Was that not an abuse? No, Fatiku. Okay.
No.
No, I mean, no. Well,
go back
but
and
they empowered him with N-Power and many other programs that are not in the Constitution. He empowered them with the N-Power.
But that was even an abuse of the Constitution.
The N-Power and their policy matters. They are not constitutional matter that.
Exactly. So it's just to further strengthen the fibers of that office, of the vice president's office.
Bush, please. You were supposed to say what?
Well, it's important to understand that President, permit me to call him President Tinubu.
Yes, of course.
Chose his candidates, his running mates.
Yeah.
And it's also important to understand that this will be the first political president that Nigeria has had.
What do you mean by political?
Political in the sense that this is somebody who understands the rudiments of politics as it works in the Nigerian context or the African context.
He's about to take his oath of office. So let's see if we can just patch into Abuja right about now.
Ahmed Tinubu, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God.
Applaudissements more.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu, do solemnly and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I will discharge my duties and perform my functions honestly, to the best of my ability, and faithfully, in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law. That I will abide by the Code of Conduct contained in the 5th schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That I will not allow my personal interests to influence my official conduct or my official decisions. That I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause for the President.
Well,
It's done.
as it appears now, we have a new president.
But he hasn't signed yet, has he?
Well, he's taking the oath of office.
Kayode,
He's taking the oath.
Kayode,
Yes, sir.
let it be recorded that here in the studio of Lagos Talks 91.3
Yes,
FM,
sir.
the Guru personally had the honor of celebrating President Ahmed Bola Tinubu.
So the frame of the frame of the president in your house, did you change it before coming? Because if you go home now, you're meeting the frame of a past president, which is unlawful.
Who told you that there's a frame even in my house?
Thank God you're not in China. Thank God you're not in China.
No, we'll do that today. but Mr. Braithwaite, what does this mean to democracy and politics in Nigeria? This simple oath of office, which I think is about 10 lines long. What does that mean?
Well, a number of us had the misfortune of living through the military era.
Yeah.
And I think that it is quite refreshing to be able to see a situation where power can shift from one, to another. Even despite the issues that are there. I mean, even in every home, you could have issues amongst family members, but you don't come to fisticuffs just because of the issues. So I think that this is a sign, definitely, that we are entering the maturing phase of trying to be democratic. However, there's still the conundrum of what does democracy mean in terms of, is it the rule of the majority or is it the issue of minority? But whatever it is, the fact that we can deal with our differences in a civilized manner, I think is obviously of uttermost importance. I think this also sends a message to the guys in uniform the military, that nobody wants them to butt into our affairs, and it's for us to sort things out, and the laid down ways of doing that, and we will follow those processes. So I'm happy that we can behave civilized at long last.
Great. I'm sure a lot of people will be very excited that at least the transition was smooth, was seamless, and it followed the normal process. We didn't have to have a gestable move to quickly relocate or do something else just to save democracy. I see the vice president clapping there.
Former.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. The former. I just said I wouldn't make this mistake. The former vice president clapping.
It's all right. What we're seeing is that when the Shetima, the now vice president, went to sign after taking his oath, the outgone vice president was by him.
Yes.
And as the new president of Nigeria, Bola Tinubu, was signing the dotted lines, the former president,
Buhari.
Sorry, I almost forgot the name. Was there
so quickly
with his wife and his children.
Yes.
So I think it's beautiful to see that the ceremonies are moving on smoothly.
Yes,
it's a packed out.
And here they are shaking hands.
Yes, shaking hands.
Two presidents.
Of course, like Buhari normally says, thank you very much. So he said he can't wait to hand over. He can't wait. So I'm sure he feels really, really relieved. That's Buhari's son, I think, somewhere there. Aisha Buhari as well.
Yes.
So it's a family affair. It's pretty good to see.
It is.
We can see also the new first lady of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Of course.
Who says she's historically the oldest first lady of Nigeria?
Well,
yes.
She doesn't look it.
At 67.
Yes, and she I think she's probably
63.
The first lady who's serving in a practicing politician, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So I think her experience.
That's our own version of Hillary Clinton.
Yes. So that's the update, and we can see that's the son of the president with the wife, and I think they're posing for pictures and all that.
Yeah. Okay.
The former.
Former. And Mr. Eddie Odire, what moving forward now? What is there? What should I don't even know how to ask this question. Moving forward after this swearing in, taking the oath of office, what is the way forward? What should we be doing right now in Nigeria? What do we expect from the president today?
I think the president will need all the good wishes Nigerians can give.
Okay.
And all the support he can get. Despite all the controversies that preceded the election, we have a brand new president, and moving forward, we must all put hands together and ensure that the administration not only succeeds, but it should make Nigerians feel better, live better and healthier, and have a better life in this. And far from the regrets and apology of the former president of visiting pain on Nigerians. Consciously and with all mindset of presence of mind, the present president must put in programs and policies that should make life better and friendlier to Nigerians.
All right. Mr. Dayo Bush, coming to your party, now you have a president in power. I mean, you're becoming the PDP, you've done what PDP did, passing the baton from within the party. But the difference is that the time your party is doing this, we're in dire need of a messiah, who we thought which we thought we could have in President Muhammadu Buhari. Now that your president, a new president from the APC, is come in right now, what really are your plans? Probably give us the insider gist right now. The ceremony is over, so we could have some insider feelers on what really your plans are to kind of unite Nigeria. What are those plans that you have?
That will be the duty of the full duty of the president and the presidency. First of all, it's important to understand that. Yeah. And I was in the middle of making a statement earlier on saying that the new president, President Tinubu, will be the first political president Nigeria has had.
Yes.
You asked me why I said so, what I meant by that. I was basically trying to explain that we haven't had, President Shehu Shagari in 1983 was a school teacher, wasn't a professional.
1979.
Sorry, 1979 before 1983. Thank you for correcting, for helping out there. Was a school teacher. Moving forward, we had President Olusegun Obasanjo, a military man, a career military officer, who handed to another academician in the person of Goodluck Jonathan. He handed over to another. Yar'Adua, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, who also wasn't Umar Yar'Adua, who wasn't a professional politician as well. Moving on to President Goodluck Jonathan, an academician, and then former President Buhari, who was also a professional military officer. Now we have somebody whom we all know. When you hear the name Bola Tinubu, we forget about the fact that he came from the private sector. What he reminds you of is
embodiment of politics.
Embodiment of politics, absolutely. Somebody who's a master strategist when it comes to politics and all that. And I would say that in the past we've had presidents, but now we have a leader. From my point of view, we've had presidents, and now we have a leader. Somebody who understands what it takes, who has what it takes. I'll give you an instance. You see, it's the easy part is making policies. The hard part is implementing those policies, because you would be amazed that some people in the South would be comfortable with the policy, whereas it's not. It wouldn't be accepted or favorable to some people from the North or even another part of the South. But where you see somebody who isn't working on being a nice guy, who wants to get results. When you look at President Tinubu, you also said earlier on that the First Lady, the new First Lady, said she was blessed. I mean, that her family doesn't need Nigeria's money. They're blessed. I mean, come to think of it, you can actually say blessings can be anything. It depends on how you choose to interpret it. But when you move forward, this is somebody who indeed is blessed. We all in the studio should accept that fact that this is somebody who is blessed. He has a very competitive, he's a very competitive character, not in a bad way, but in a good way. He's broken all records. He's broken all that has been thrown at him just to achieve results. Why I had mentioned him as a leader was the move he made. Nobody ever felt. I mean, he's broken that chain of, it has to be a Christian. It has to be a Muslim Christian. You work with who you think can deliver for you. My religion, I'm Muslim. I married a Christian like he did. My religion is like going to the bathroom. It's between God and I. It shouldn't be something that's placed on the front burner. What we're particular about, what we're interested in is, how do we eat? There's a challenge at hand saying that by 2050, which is just 3 presidents away, like I say, if each president does a term of 8 years, we would have 3 presidents, saying that our economy, our population would have blown to about close to 500 million. Now, we're still trying to deal with the basic problem of infrastructure right now with the current population that we have. We're dealing with insecurity with the current problem that we have. We're dealing with numerous things. Now, how do we sort that out first? For the much that I know of him, having worked with him in the past, is that he takes up a challenge. He desires something, he goes after it. That I give to him completely. And he makes sure that he achieves it. He would want to live, he's not any younger right now. He's achieved what he wants to, which is to become president of Nigeria. So I would say his current challenge would be, how do I leave a legacy of good and great things behind?
And where you anchor is what I would like us to look at, really. I wanted us to come there, but so it's good you've gone there. But before I talk about that, right now, the national and defense flags are being lowered before another one will be hoisted. This one will be handed over to the outgoing president, and we hope he ends in Katsina and doesn't cross over with our flag. That will
that's below the belt.
So this flag will be handed over to him. Then a new flag will be hoisted, signifying the beginning of a new era, another administration. So that is what is ongoing right now at the inauguration grounds. And
Yes, the lowering of the defense and national flags.
National flag, yes.
Yeah, defense and national flags is being done. I think they've done that already, so they would hand over the defense and national flags, and that simply is signifying that a dispensation, political era of the country has ended.
Yeah.
Yes, and a new one is about to.
That's it. That's it. So I mean, coming back to what you said, that the current president. Wow. How time flies, how things change.
You don't need the word correct.
The president, yes.
Just go ahead.
I'm just reminding myself that, wow.
Just trying to get to grips.
Trying to come to that reality.
Shake it off. Shake it off.
I mean, so the president, I almost added elect again. Could remove that. The president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Correct.
Yes. He's seen it all. He's done it all. He's made the money. He's made people. He's made impact. He has inroads into politics. And all his life, like he said, all he's been trying to do is get there to the presidency. Now he's at the presidency. Mr. Braithwaite, do you think Nigerians should have confidence that he would deliver? Because this is what he appears to have planned for all his life, and he has no other aim. He has no reason to pat people on the back. He can be hard on people. He can get the results he wants. He doesn't need to lobby anybody, because this is where he wants to be. He has the ultimate.
Yorubas have a saying, Omotobani babao moshe enuelawa. And it interprets for those who don't understand.
No. Let me help you in interpretation. Okay, you continue. Obi said, Omotoni babao lowo lowo. Omotoni babao kiko enu. So if your father is not, it's now your turn. Go ahead.
So, I think during the campaigning season, the question was, why are you saying you want to change if you belong to a party that's been doing it right? So, if the former president, has failed in a number of dimensions, I think that the burden now lies with President Tinubu to right those things. So it's not going to be about what people say anymore. When you're campaigning, when you're on the hustings, you can say anything you want, really. You can release all kinds of policy papers and what have you. But I think that in order for anything to be improved, it has to be measured. Okay, so the president has the numbers and the statistics to work with. And Honorable Dayo mentioned earlier that he's a man who gets things done. Well, we will know now because the KPIs are there. They've been established already even before he attained the presidency. So you have KPIs like the 133 million who are living in multidimensional poverty. You have the about 50% or so youth unemployment. You have the issue around power generation. You have the violence and insecurity. So it's not about what he has said or what anybody says. Now, in these few weeks, months that are coming, the issue now will be, what do you, President Tinubu, what do you want to do? What are the things that you're bringing now that's effectively going to hit these things, on the head? You've seen the gaps. You've seen the issues. The opposition has spoken largely to these issues. So you can't say you're not aware. And you cannot say you don't. And you can't blame the opposition because you're not in that position. No. You can't blame, the previous government, right? Yeah. Who, your party, your part and party, of it. So let's see. We will hold you to these things.
All right. During when in the first term of the president, when they came in, I was told somebody close to me, I think I interviewed the president, he told me off air, he said one day that the second lady got to the Aso Rock, got home, and was having a chat with your husband, I think with some people there, and said, I just don't understand why this country like this. There must be a change. He said, and the husband looked at her and said, have you forgotten I'm the vice president? I'm like, who will change it? That's what we are trying to do. So what I'm saying in essence is that you're saying that there is no excuse. He is in the seat of power. I mean, government right now, he has to be that change. The guru, Sir Eddie, what do you think? Before you come, I know you want to talk on that, Mr. Dayo. You come in, but let's go to Mr. Eddie, then the guru. Then okay.
All right, please do. So what's happening right now? The Eagle Square is that the national flag and the defense flags were lowered, folded, handed over to the commander of the Guards Brigade.
Yeah.
He marched briskly, gave them to to Lucky Rabo, who is the chief of defense staff, who, to my surprise, was very agile. The way he turned about 360 or 180 degrees was really, really impressive. So fit, and you'd be surprised. Yeah, I mean, for his age and his position, I mean, very agile.
But let me just chip in here
Very
that
agile.
one thing President Buhari did very perfectly well
Yes.
in his 8 years is his choice of service chiefs. During his tenure, it was difficult to see a service chief with potbelly. Very difficult. Check all of them. Buratai, all of them. They were all, I mean, some of them were even doing press up and all that. So it just made me wonder. So we have this kind of people in service. Yet,
very agile.
previously, growing up, I actually thought growing up that for you to be a general, you must have potbelly.
well, that, I didn't see
You
that.
didn't see that?
but anyway, so the chief of defense staff handed over the national, and it was put in the case.
Yeah, and the defense.
And then handed over to the president, who gave it to his ADC. And then they brought the new national defense flags in another case. He handed it over to the president. President, as his ADC, handed it over to the outgone president. Handed it over. Buhari handed it over to Tinubu, who is the new president, who gave it to Lucky Rabo, the CDS, who marched briskly and handed it over to the commander of Guards Brigade. No, Guards Brigade, the guys who were attacked in Abuja. Yes, and then he marched briskly, and now they are unfolding them. So they will probably unfold the flags and hoist them.
They're actually hoisting them right now. They're about
So,
to,
yeah.
All right. So back to you, Sir Eddie.
Yeah, you're asking indeed the very basic question Nigerians want to hear. But I was elated to have read the president say yesterday. Yeah. Was it 2 days back? Don't pity me. I asked for this job, and I will do it. So there is really no excuse. He told the president when he announced his intention that it has been his lifelong ambition. So he's been preparing for this job. And so, as we say, he would hit the ground running. He's taking the oath of office today. If not for the National Assembly that is not there yet, I would expect that in a week or thereabout, he should announce his cabinet and then get started in earnest. There's so much to do with about 80 trillion naira as debt being inherited and insecurity.
Johesu currently on strike? Or have they called it off? They started
Johesu is still on strike.
Still on strike.
There's so much to do, and I actually sympathize with him, but they said we shouldn't pity him. So, Lagosians who have been very active in propagating his candidature have said he has some economic magic. So we expect that economic magic to also come to play. The economy is in big shambles with 22.2% inflation. It's terrible to see how he's going to rework this, and we are just hopeful to see a better Nigeria from Tinubu.
All right, the guru, sir.
If you ask me who I go ask, one thing for sure, which I must admit, I have been a keen follower of politics in Nigeria, given the number of years God has blessed me with. Bola Ahmed Tinubu remains the most prepared for this time. I was talking here, was it on Monday or which day? I spoke about the Dangote refinery.
Yes, sir.
Which ought to have been declared commissioned by President Buhari in Rivers. But because the greediness of people who didn't know what to do, Bola Tinubu followed. He knew that was a very, very big opportunity. And he was able to convince. I only hope Braithwaite is not from Rivers. You are not from Rivers. Okay.
Braithwaite is a Lagosian.
No, but we had Tuji Braithwaite. Was he from Lagos too?
Certainly.
Oh, your uncle.
Oh, I thought your dad.
Okay. May God bless his memory. Because that man was a great man. He's part of the enumeration. I mean, very, very great man. I remember when there was confusion of his son of a presidential candidate that carried cocaine. He came out to own up. How many would do that? But back to the issue. Bola Tinubu saw the opportunity and he knew it could have been better off in Lagos here. He spoke to Dangote. And he was able to buy Dangote to a plan, which became what is it. But beyond that capacity, that's one. Another one was that when the wife of Goodluck Jonathan, Mama Peace, snatched microphone from Amechi, Rotimi, Shibuke Amechi, in Africa, and was talking, and Rotimi Amechi now left the scene, went into the bus that brought them to sit down, and he was there for almost 2 hours. But Bola Tinubu was the only major politician in Nigeria that saw problem coming into PDP. He called three of his colleagues. He said, time to move. He said, the war is cracked now. We as lizards, we can penetrate.
That's right.
It's only a man who is shrewd in the business that could pick all this one. I actually spoke here about 1 year ago when I was talking about the matter. Sowore would have been a dead man long time ago. Sowore was attacked by the usual in the university campus, and they brought knife, they brought gun, they did everything. None penetrated Sowore because Sowore happened to be a village boy prepared from the village. Now, but one of them now looked. He said, as long as his legs are on the ground, nothing can penetrate him. So one of them went in, lifted him up. The first knife just went like bread. And Sowore was left. They thought he was dead. But somebody was kind enough to communicate to Bola Tinubu.
I think the president is about to leave the venue.
The former president?
Okay. The former president is just about to... It's not... I need a coping mechanism, man. I'm used to PMB. It's strange. Yeah, so the former president, President Muhammadu Buhari, is just leaving the venue right now, getting into his car.
Not the one that brought him, anyway.
Yeah, I mean... he's standing to wave at Nigerians for the last time before he relocates to his town. Yeah,
he probably was still asking, have you forgiven me?
So that's what he's doing right now. And he's just got into the car. His aides are there as well. And he's just about to drive off. I see Kofi waving at him like we used to wave at the aeroplane back in the day. He's waving, right? So, well, that ends. That brings an end to an era.
I wonder why he has to leave, at this time. I mean, I would expect that he'll be there to listen to the speech, and I don't know why he's leaving at this time.
Okay,
did Jonathan leave?
He told you he cannot wait to handle.
Is it normal protocol? Someone remind me. Did Jonathan leave immediately?
Did he wait till the end of the process, or did he?
Remember.
Okay, let's go for the narration.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
Still talking about Bola Tinubu. He provided ambulance to pick Sowore, flew him out. He never met Sowore before that. He never knew a name, Sowore. Somebody mentioned it to him. That somebody is very close to me. Then the third thing I will mention, Ladoja.
The fourth year.
The fourth, okay.
Yes,
Ladoja was not a member of PDP. Olusegun Obasanjo, President Olusegun Obasanjo, used his baboozing method, bully method, to remove Ladoja the way he did to many other ago. Look at it. Ladoja was a member of PDP. He was not in either AC or ACN. Then ACN had not come. Do you know it took Bola Tinubu to organize some lawyers and tell them that one of the lawyers he gathered now reminded him, he said, what's your relationship? That man is not a member of our party. He said, no, we should stop that act. Otherwise, every governor will be. So what I'm saying is that he is investing. And immediately, Patience did that in Inukrika. Bola Tinubu reached out to Amechi and said, it's like they want to silence you. Amechi said, he said, there is a room for you here. So you can see a man who has been investing. In 2015, 2019, all the people, 2015, who was to be the president of the Senate? It was Ahmad. Bagabi Amila would have been the speaker. Who the first cost of buying vote, what do you call it? Form of Ahmad Lawa was given to him by Bola Tinubu. So he invested in other people. So this one, he is the most prepared. Yes, he has spoken.
Yes, sir.
And he will keep on speaking.
Just an update on what's happening right there.
Yes,
right now.
well, President Buhari has departed. We hear he's going straight to the airport, from where he would pick a flight to his village, Daura. No, the update is that he's going to Daura. That's what I'm getting.
Okay.
Yes. So we might have to cross check. Yeah. But right now, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is
GCFR.
GCFR. Thank you. He's on parade. Of course, he's going around the arena, Eagle Square, with his ceremonial parade in the ceremonial vehicle. Open air military vehicle. I've forgotten what this particular one is called. It has a name, and of course, it's waving to the crowd, and that's what's happening right now. But we're told that he's still not sure as to which title he's going to bear, whether it to be Ashiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whether it to be President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or whether it to be Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Whatever it is, you can't take away the president.
Call him what you want.
Yeah,
but
I was going to ask you that, by the way, Honorable Dayo, that we know a GEJ, PMB. What would be the acronym? BAT.
Well, BAT. Call him whatever you want.
That is, we don't want.
Call him whatever you want and call him president.
I like that.
All right. So sorry. Back to you, sir.
Now the question is that he has spoken. He has been there for years. He has gotten it. What is expected now is what he will be doing with the power he has acquired over these years. I remember a book. What's that book name? I forgot it. Am I forgetting? The one written by that young man who started coup in this region from Ghana. And Ghana.
Sorry.
Ghana. You know Ghana were ahead of us.
The beautiful ones are not yet born.
No. He said that the
Rollins.
No Rollins. Before Rollins, it's something of power utilization of power, something like that. Differentiated between the two. That's number one. Number two, we should not forget that yes, Bola Tinubu might have had all the ideas because what he did with Lagos was magical. But then age is now cutting on him. And even at this age, I have been told by those who are close to him, like my friend sitting opposite me had mentioned, that he has ideas. He will put them down. He will now appoint people, and he has the means of checking back on those he appointed. It is Eddie Odibri that told us.
Is it Kotoka you went to say? Kotoka.
What did the book he wrote was?
No, I can't remember. Anyway, you go ahead. I'll look for the book. Yeah.
It was Andy Odibri who told us that people don't expect. What? How did he put it? That people
mind what you inspect, not
people
what you
mind what you expect,
not what you expect.
Thank you again for reminding me because I made it a clause in my vocabulary. People mind what we expect, not what we expect. The president, the outgone president, Muhammadu Buhari, part of his major failures, even when they were when people were singing, first Allah told us that once President Muhammadu Buhari trusts you, he gives you assignment. He doesn't ask you questions. So when the assignment is even abdicated or abandoned, he will not ask you.
He won't even know.
Oh, he would know. That's number one. And he established himself as a president who did not know anything, because he will always tell you, I didn't know that he didn't do it. He says so about his Inspector General of Police. He sent to Ghana. To Makodi and many other places. Now, we President Ahmed Bola Tinubu remember to cross-check that Bola or Braithwaite or Tuji, how far have you gone with this? Because the very moment, because the truth of the matter is that most politicians, they are there for what they will get out of it. Not It's less than 2% that will come there for what, but they will shout it out. Hey, this is what it is all lies.
It's a cultural and societal issue.
Yes, I will give you the opportunity. The good thing is that I'm not a politician, and I will never be one. But I am a bona fide political technocrat, and I have been doing this for years. I've never failed in my analysis of them. Yes, because they will tell you, will he now remember, will he not oversleep by virtue of old age and probably at this age? I belong to that age. I declared my own, okay, let me not indict myself here. I belong to that. I'm even far.
Take a second look.
I'm even far beyond that age. And nobody at this age will tell you that I'm 100% perfect. My head is a lie. Anyone who's saying it's a big lie.
But you're speaking very well.
We have some drugs which we support ourselves. Sometimes the effect of the drug might make you to slip off. At a time you ought to be awake to check. Kayode, how far have you gone with that thing? And once politicians that were listed, that you recruited, know that Oga did not wake up to remember, they want to check it out tomorrow. If they've gotten an opportunity, they stamp their authority. And there are some of them that will say, Oga head is very, very fragile. Don't make him panic. So they extract everything from Oga through the means of panicking. There are many, many things that can happen. But I pray, because by precedence, this man is good and this man is supposed to. If he fails, I will not take excuse from him that don't blame me, blame my followers. No, it's you I will blame.
But sir, you can meet where you, like say, people of your age, where you meet.
Yes, it doesn't matter. When these people climb, those around them, they are the sycophants that will come to tell him that is the best in doing.
That's right.
And I told you I was in the Bayamans a few months ago when I received a call from a top Nigeria politician that why did you say this? What did I say that day? I was even talking on Peter Obi, and I gave the typical example of how Funsho William was murdered that night. Funsho William would run away from his Duffy. He would come to my house. Sometimes he would stay 2 days. And each time we talk about security, Funsho William would say, God dig back there alone in China. There was a day he came and he now called me. My friend called me. He said, God, all this security is a terrible thing. But I want to ask you one question. I said, he said, what of bad dysentery? If we catch up with you at night, can they kill you with that assassin? He said, that's why we should not worry ourselves. How was he killed? So I was now saying, Peter Obi, they should pray for Peter Obi. Then this man called me all the way from Lagos. He's a front runner. Say, so it's only Peter Obi they should pray for. So we should go and die. God, that thing you said, no, I'm not happy with it. Then I said, the days that I've said something that even threatened my life, why did you call me? So that is the issue with these people. Yes, I hope. Sorry, finally, when the wife now said that we are be blessed, God, that this family is be blessed.
You don't need the wealth of Nigerians to survive.
I took it wrong because President Asiwaju Bola Tinubu happened to be one person. He worked in formidable places, either overseas or in Nigeria. But what is that business that brought you all this wealth?
Exactly.
He never revealed to us, and you cannot find it. So, therefore, where did that money come from? Either from Lagos. Lagos happened to be the capital of Nigeria at the time. And if it is from Lagos, then what she's saying now we don't need it because we got it at the time. That is the meaning. Finally, Kayode, calm down, Kayode.
No, I want to give an update on what's happening right now.
The update will be coming. Calm down. The final word is that when Bola Tinubu, when he was not yet president, went Oyetola, what is the name of the governor?
In
Oshu. And when he got there, he told the people that don't panic. I'm not bringing him to. I am richer than you, Oshu. Because be careful, because what you said that Obafemi Awolowo, he said to trust is to commit treasonable felony. He said because what you spoke about a man at peacetime is what he used against you at wartime. Just for the refreshing of the memory. You can go ahead for your view.
But you asked a question, which is what I was going to talk about then, that the source of his money. I just wanted to let you know that Ishe Oluwa awa married. So,
what does that mean?
The work of God, mystery. God work in a mysterious way.
Is he a missionary?
Beg this man to take.
But it's also, Kayode, it's also important to note and understand that there is no politician in Nigeria who has been checked as much as Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It's important. And for us, I used to be chairman of EFCC in the House of Reps. All sorts were thrown at him. None came out against him.
Okay, are you in the house now? Or you were in the house?
I was in the house.
Okay,
are you sure of what you are saying?
Honorable.
Absolutely, sir.
In the days of Nuhu Ribadu,
Yes.
Governor Tinubu at the time
Yes.
was found to have 13 foreign accounts.
Yes.
Was it not established?
He was brought before the ICPC. He defended.
Was it not
he was
defended
brought, no, what? Not even ICPC. The declaration, the code of conduct,
CCB,
and today he's president.
No, it's not a question of whether he's today's president. It was established that he had 13 foreign accounts at that time.
Please,
under Nuhu
gentlemen, let us move
say
that.
Nothing has been established is not true.
Gentlemen,
He has not been.
Gentlemen,
Yes,
please,
sir.
as the most senior person sitting in this studio now,
Yes, sir.
Yes.
let us decide that matter and acquit it.
Thank you.
We can meet another for a go ahead.
Thank you.
So you were going to make some statement earlier on before I came in. So just
I think it was basically in response to my brother here and the elder there. They had you had also asked what we think should be expected. The last time I was on your program, I made certain things clear that there are people. Every administration has a defining crisis, and I used that in expressing why President Tinubu should enjoy backing of Nigerians. It's not because of him, but because of us. You would discover that a lot of people, a lot of things we have been facing in Nigeria haven't been, what do you call, spiritual issues. They have been orchestrated issues. They have been simulated issues where it's been made to seem as if, there can never be peace in this part of Nigeria, where all sorts, from President Olusegun Obasanjo, they make sure that there's always crisis brewing within their region, not from the opposite side, always within their region. He faced, I think there was a bit of OPC trying to come up, and they were hammered down. He now had to deal with, I think it was the Niger Delta militancy.
Asari Dokubo.
Niger Delta militancy.
At the same time when he put Dr. Frederick Fassen in prison.
Absolutely. Now, when it moved from the south to the north to Umar Musa Yar'Adua, then Boko Haram suddenly came out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. I want you to flow with me, please. Unfortunately, he passed on, and President Goodluck Jonathan he inherited Boko Haram. Of course, you could see that a lot had been invested in the existence of Boko Haram. Niger Delta militancy dropped completely. They tried to even switch to make it seem like, it was going to come from within his region, which was when the case of Oka, who was, what's his first name now?
In South Africa.
In South Africa. And, once he was silenced, nothing happened. So it continued. Once it moved to the north, Baton changed hands again from Boko Haram to headsmen. We didn't hear anything about. Now it's come back to the south. It became. Have you noticed that they've been on holiday? We haven't heard of snatchings off the streets anymore. We haven't heard of headmen issues anymore. So I think we're waiting to see what the defining crisis of this of this administration would be. Now we're smarter. We understand that some rich people are actually behind all of this nonsense going on. If we're able to support him, I choose to, even when you pray to God himself, the most almighty, the almighty one, you come to him in confidence. Pray to him, ask and you shall be given. Not doubt, will you, as if you're negotiating with God. So for that reason, I choose to completely support and campaign for support for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You see, it is said that to hear the sound of the sound of thunder isn't a sign of great hearing. This is somebody whom the elder had. He can tell. I mean, if you're able to predict and tell me, and Kayode tells everyone, tomorrow, Monday by 12:37, there's going to be this loud thunder. That is a sign of greatness. And if this man can predict, like he had said, from when the mic was snatched from Amechi and so many other things, and for the first time ever, he quarterbacked. He was the quarterback for the amalgamation of what became APC today. Of course. It says a lot about him. Now, if I would expect that this is the point where most of the things, when the elder had said earlier that most politicians are into it, in it for what they want. You're actually correct, sir. Actually correct.
The guru can never be wrong.
I appreciate that. And the reason is that what got most of them wanting to serve in the first place, it is a cultural issue. And until we're able to go back and fix cultural issues, we would continue to go around in circles. Let's note that, like Fela sang, who be government teacher, culture and tradition. If we fix it, if you change the way you look at things, it is said that the things you look at will begin to change. When we fix this issue of culture, I would think one of the things Asiwaju would do would be to really focus on the orientation, Nigerian Orientation Agency. Yeah. It is very, very important. Movies, we watch movies, it keeps talking down Nigeria. It portrays Nigeria in a bad way. We turn to radio, we turn to social media, it keeps running down Nigeria by Nigerians. You had mentioned earlier on Mr. Braithwaite about how did Asiwaju, it wasn't did he get the number of votes? It wasn't about Asiwaju getting the number of votes. Did any of the participants get that much number of votes? Where you see so many millions registering to vote, and then you see maybe about 2% actually coming out to cast their votes. This says a lot. It shows that there isn't support for the political class because the people also haven't gotten support from the political process. If they're able to fix that and people are actually able to come out, don't forget that we vote based on sentiments, and sentiments never get the best results.
It's never logical.
Okay. It never.
Okay, let's because thank you very much, my brother. You've moved this far.
You come in, sir, but just inform the audience that the president actually did his first assignment right now after his initial inspection of the guard of honor. He actually, I think that the military officer went to him and asked for permission to carry on with the parade, and he gave him the permission. So that is actually his very first assignment that's been carried out by the president of Nigeria. Now, I know you're listening at home and you want to be a part of this. I want to send your WhatsApp messages to us on 0809-234-5913. 0809-234-5913. That is the line for you to send in your WhatsApp messages. We'll read that, but let's go to the guru, and then after that we'll come to your messages.
Yes, my duty here is just to coordinate. I was going to tell you that let's hear what people are saying about this discussion. So you will go to the WhatsApp, you will read a little. If there's any tweet, which I know you have, are you receiving tweets? Are there tweets? No. Yes. Okay. Then cross over here please cross over there so that we can hear what
our listeners are saying.
Let's start with those friends of the pen. So we hear what they are saying, then we read numbers. Then, gentlemen, Braithwaite, am I right? Braithwaite, not Bright, Braith. But, and Odiri, please, you will come in, but let's hear what the people want to tell us.
All right.
Go ahead.
If you like to be a part of the conversation, you can call the numbers you usually know, 080-9234-5913. Okay, we have a call on the line.
My name is Akpan Udofia.
Akpan. You started again.
The Guru, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. God bless you.
The Guru, I cannot hear you on the land phone, but I believe you can hear me.
I'm hearing you.
I will say this, the Guru, because I can't hear people. I will say this, that I asked Kayode yesterday, last week, Thursday and Friday, that all the people that predicted that May 29 will never come for this man, where are they now? You can see how they lead us. They will pray and lead us to the wrong direction. Congratulations, Tinubu. I wish you the best.
Thank you.
But my only prayer is this: your Minister of Finance, I want to know who he be.
Oh, that's where you are looking. I will give you a name, but not here. Go ahead.
All right, we have another listener on the line. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, Mr. K. I don't protest. I think so. No, don't forget us.
Sorry.
How are you doing?
Welcome. What's your name and where are you listening to us from?
Oh, so sorry. I'm Chooks from Ikeja.
Chooks, all right, go on. Listening to you. What are your thoughts on the
Can I make an interpretation of Buhari's remarks about Nigeria not being easy to control?
All right, go on. That was last night at the...
there's one he means. You know, when you start with your children, or when you are a rancher and you don't feed the cows, they stampede on you. Buhari expected Nigerians to stampede him out of office, and they didn't. That's his reason, literally, was here. That's my interpretation of what he said. Good morning to you all.
Thank you very much. We have some messages coming in on WhatsApp. Kayode is still around. My name is Kofi Bartels. We still have our guests here in the studio, all four of them seated and eloquently and poised to do justice to the events of today. This is the 16th president or head of state in the history of Nigeria, and the 7th since the return to democracy in 1999. How will Bola Tinubu fare as president of Nigeria? What will a Bola Tinubu presidency be like? I guess here we'll be looking into their crystal ball. They're all prophets, as we see. They are all Houdini or Nostradamus, because they'll be seen tomorrow. Guru is here, as usual, taking charge and giving us those juicy facts and historical recounts that he has in his quiver. But some messages coming here on WhatsApp. This one says, congratulations to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Nigerians. I pray that GMB's days will not be better than the tenure of the new president. Adegboyega Dedeji with that one. I think that is a prayer, and I was beginning to be a bit afraid.
But I had said amen to it.
But when you were giving your own, you were talking about the age and what happens to people, I was beginning to be scared, that maybe one cover.
I spoke from personal perspective.
Okay.
I might be good, but then must I go out to say, I will not forget. When after the drug to sleep away. but it doesn't happen every night. Go ahead with your message.
But the former representative here was seems he wanted to say something about that.
No, but
the age factor. But I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. All right. Next one here says, good morning, Olua Kayode and crew. Okay, great job. Blessed are those who daily renew their hopes. They shall see the goodness in the land. Congratulations to Nigeria, Emmanuel. All right. I was expecting a lot of pushback today, a lot of anger, but it seems that Nigerians are choosing to move on, like they say. Okay, more from here. Someone says Kayode is a wet Saturday. Indeed, it's today Saturday. Today is not Saturday now. Today is Monday, but maybe because of the public holiday, it feels a Saturday. But this reminds me of a status I saw, gentlemen, on someone's WhatsApp. He says, when it rains, they'll either say it's a sign of showers of blessing or divine rejection for your event. They'll either say it's a sign of showers of blessing or divine rejection for your event. Interpreting it depends on if you like the celebrant or not. So I don't know how we're going to interpret.
This is
it shower of blessing or divine rejection?
Shower of blessing.
Okay.
The other interpretation is gone.
All right. Are you asking for everybody? Okay. We have more coming in. This one says, shame on Nigeria as a country. I was looking for some of these messages. I was wondering what's going on. Is a shame on Nigeria as a country. A man that went to rent sinners and use them as bishops to Nigerians to present his vice. Nigeria's leadership is built on falsehood and deceit, so don't expect anything good from them. Abue from Michelle. Abue, they forget. They forget something.
No, but apart from that, let's be sincere a little. What evidence has said that he spoke about the man? We don't know the man is talking. So let's close this chapter.
Yeah, but
he spoke the man who went to rent. Which man? He didn't apportion. Look.
But I think we know who he's talking about.
I'm not going to interpret his heart.
Yeah, but interestingly, I had one of those bishops on radio. We had them, and he was a real bishop.
We are not saying he said the man. He said the man. Look, there is something I wrote.
Yeah,
and I was looking at it, and I know the man to be so troublesome. He's my friend. How do I do it? So I now measure one of the ministers. I spoke everywhere, but never measure his name.
Okay.
If he takes me to court, he has no case.
All right.
This man spoke of
maybe Abue can tell us which man he's referring to. Anyway, more here says, congratulations to Asiwaju. Please do something about Agbero in Lagos collecting money from commercial buses, even trucks carrying load on, including company vehicle by fire by force. Today in Obalende, I passed by a police officer who was trying to tell one of the Agberos, today you are not collecting any money. The guy said I must collect. Said no. He said they won't come. The people who are supposed to come and collect, they are not here today. They are not coming. They are out of the town. So don't collect. Leave the drivers alone.
That was someone lose business.
Not
the president.
But so the idea was that there's no collection today. Okay, let's read some more messages. Architect Olalekon is here with his messages. He says, good morning, Daddy Guru, Oluwakayode Kofi Bartels, the guests in the studio, and listeners around the world. Congratulations to the president, wishing President BAT the best time in office. Expectations are high, and we hope that a lot of people in Buhari's government had rendered redundant can finally get back to work. Mr. Braithwaite, Akin, do you agree that the outgone administration rendered people redundant? In the sense that Okalalekan is talking about.
I'm not too sure the context he's speaking of, but again, I just like to go with facts. If we're looking at about a 50% youth unemployment, then a lot of people have been obviously redundant. If they have the energy and they're capable of working, and the government hasn't provided that enabling environment, then of course that is something that a new government has to take full on as a major priority. You cannot have such a size of youth in a country like this, not look after them and sort that issue out, and then expect that you won't have a real security issue. So my advice would be that this is an area that has to be paid a lot of attention. You mentioned this Agbero thing. It is becoming something that's spreading to other parts of Nigeria, not just Lagos. And it also speaks to the youth problem. If you don't effectively work out a solution of getting young people to get involved in legitimate economic activity, they will find illegitimate means because everybody has to survive. And I had thought that the 8 years previously, there'd been a lot of hope around the welfare aspect of citizens. That seriously didn't happen. And again, you can't have a nation where people their stomach infrastructure needs to be looked after. In the UK, in the US, it's a fundamental thing that people get their allowances when they are unemployed. There's social security. It's called social security for a reason. Because if you don't secure your population, you will have social disorder. So it's important that we look at these things. And yes, jobs have to be provided. The government has to look at how it's going to provide jobs for the massive number of people who are jobless.
All right, I'll read some more messages. But Oga from former editor of This Day newspaper. The president, I heard over the radio, at dawn. Yesterday, in his speech, said that Nigeria's economy is better today than it was in 2015. And he basically gave himself a pass mark whilst we're looking at the future, we can also look at the past, because this is probably last time we'll be able to do a post-mortem on Buhari. Do you agree with his assessment that the economy is better today than he met it in 2015?
Certainly not. The indices are contrary to his claims, and they are replete. The society is replete with all those indices. I would have thought that out of decency, he shouldn't be the examiner and the one marking his own script. He should leave that to Nigerians. So I would think that claim is just a claim as it is. That declaration is a claim. How would he say the economy is better today? How much is a bag of rice today? At the time he came in, how much was the naira to a dollar? What is the exchange rate? Even at the official rate?
We have rice pyramids.
Yeah. What has it translated to? How much do you buy a bag of rice today in the market? How much? Look at the volume of the unemployed persons that we have. Look at the inflation rate, 22.22%. Look at the number of persons said to be living under multidimensional poverty. 133 million. And then these were the same persons that gave 250 billion to students, children during COVID.
We've had COVID that has affected the global economy.
He should accept that things are not as he planned it to be.
We've had COVID. COVID has affected the global economy. We have a global economic slowdown, cost of living crisis all over the world.
Agreed. Yes, but in those economies, their leaders are also accepting the situations as they are. You will not rub it. You cannot pee on our back and tell us it's raining. The thing we are suffering today, they are multidimensional in every sense. In every sense. So I do not think it is, like I said, that declaration is a claim, and just to make him sound okay. Yes, it didn't fail on all scores and on all fronts. There are areas in which he did well, like infrastructure, even though he borrowed so much, But we're also happy that, yes, we can see some of the evidences of
social welfare, social
welfare. No, those are the areas that I
trader money, market
with.
money.
How many people do you know in your village
conditional
that
cash
benefited
transfer
from the social welfare?
An update from Lagos. The swearing-in ceremony has finally started. The deputy governor has just been sworn in, so it's about time for the governor to be sworn in. Under this reign, I'm sure he's around. So he's just about to be sworn in there.
Sorry, Kayode. Yes. I asked that question because I told you something, not on air. On my way here, I passed through the deputy governor's house.
Okay, through his house.
I passed through there.
Like you went into his house. Okay, how far?
I stopped.
Sir, you can't leave the way you came.
I stopped, and that's why I told you that. I told him, I said, forget about Lagos. I said, because the deputy governor, I met him in the house now, on my way here. So he's got back from, go ahead, you are the one of this.
No, I mean, that's all, sir. The process has
Mr.
started,
Guru, sir,
so
we have to see after now.
There's no problem.
It's inauguration day.
Nigeria is going to be better.
Yes.
Forget about the quotes of Muhammadu Buhari. By the time he arrives, he will, because he's taking off with helicopter to the airport, and he will arrive. He's going to Kaduna first. I know facts I'm giving to you. By the time he arrives, he would have forgotten that he said what you are quoting him for now. So we don't need to bring.
All right.
Don't forget, he also said that he's going to reduce the number of cows he has because he will not have enough money to feed them, to buy feed.
Well. Yeah.
Yes, he said that yesterday.
We really impoverished our president.
But
sir, just a quick one now. I mean, we keep talking about we hope. Beyond hope for a better government, beyond the hope that we all have, is there any other thing we can hold on to for this incoming government? Because, for example, when you're talking American politics now, everybody had an idea of what they expected Trump to do because of his utterances, the his body language, his antecedents. When you talk about Joe Biden, you see who he is. The only thing people were expecting is what's going to be the role of Kamala, the vice president, and all that. Now we have a president and a vice president who has just been sworn in less than an hour ago. And we're all talking about hope. Beyond hope, because hope is what we had last 8 years. Hope is what we had 16 years ago. Hope is what we had 24 years ago. Now we are still talking hope. What concrete thing can we hold on to?
Well, there's a saying that goes, where there's life, there's hope. That's one thing you can't take away from anybody. When you take away hope, the person is empty. The human is empty. He read out some of them. I actually don't have off the top of my head, but a few things had been read out during the campaign periods. If you go back to when he campaigned to be governor, everything he said he was going to, the majority of what he said he was going to do, he did. And when you go by that, what he did before, it gives you confidence. It gives me confidence that, you know what, I'm looking forward to a better Nigeria. One of the things I'd really much like to see is the battle against insecurity. You would be amazed at how it affects us as a people. It's said that the role of government is not to create jobs, but to create the enabling environment, just like my brother just said here a few minutes ago. But where you have people, we refuse to acknowledge that. We have people who are making sure, who have taken it upon themselves to make sure that we do not have peace in Nigeria. That is something that threatens everything. How do you get investors to come when every time you turn on the news you're hearing something about you're even hearing Nigerians not run down Nigeria? When you listen to the news, you're hearing people talking about how they're snatching people off the streets. It's blown beyond proportion. How do we come together and say, listen, we need to stop doing this, which is why I talked about the Nigerian Orientation Agency. It has a lot to do. I would even suggest, I hope that it is taken away from the Ministry of Information. And just like they did with Abike Dabiri, Nigerians in Diaspora, the way they pulled it out and turned it into a commission and pump it with as much as it needs. We need to change how people see the police force. We also need the police force to put out their best. We need, people need to know that it is said that justice is not the what's the saying again? Is not the absence of what?
Guilt.
Sorry?
Guilt.
No. Justice is not but the presence of something. I'll try. It just left me for a moment. When everybody knows that, you know what? I'm equal. We're all equal before the law. There's no law for the rich and no law for the poor. It helps us to move in sync in a particular direction. But insecurity. No, but who would come to invest if they know that such is going on?
All right. I mean, I'm sure Kofi would like Mr. Braithwaite to come in. But before then, what you said now reminded me of something that happened about 15 years ago. There's this colleague of mine who's a big boy, does a lot of great things in Ghana. And we're speaking together that day. And I was trying to tell him, Nigeria is not what you think it is. Nigeria is this. There are opportunities. Come to Nigeria and invest. And while we were talking, what you said right now happened. We put on the TV, and the first thing we saw on CNN was during the Niger Delta militant era. And we saw this weapons. And it goes, you're telling me to go to a country where civilians have wield this kind of weapons? I'm sorry, Oluwakari, I can't come to Nigeria. So when you said, it just popped in my mind that yes, this is what happened back then during the Niger Delta era. So
we just need to change the narrative. Go look at all this figures that we are throwing up about Nigeria, the inflation rates. Go look at that of America. Go look at that of America. It's made to seem as if it's only in Africa where we're facing these things. But I respect and appreciate the fact that Nigerians or Africans are speaking for Africa. But it's been rolled up. You see the average American see the military man on the streets, and if you go on the same plane with them, they're always projected as heroes. Of course, I had said something about culture. There's a need to bridge that gap between the military and the ordinary person. I saw a letter. I stumbled upon a letter that was written to one of my friends from his child's school. And they had written to tell him if he wouldn't mind his child participating in receiving the British Air Force. They were meant to come and land a chopper in the center of the school. What were they doing? Just PR between the military and kids of that age. So they're already programming their minds to let them know that, this is what I want to grow up to be. We need to understand the importance of consequences and repercussion. Where you why do people commit crimes? It's simply, first of all, it's not because they're born with it. It's because they believe they can get away with it.
All right. I'll just read some more messages here before I come back to the guests in the studio. Our listeners are still trying to call in. 080-9234-5913. 080-9234-5913. 080-9191-3913. 080-9191-3913. You can also call 080-9222-0913. 080-9222-0913. And we have 01515 0913 and 01515 1913. I called that already. Okay. Yes. So Sebastian, who is in California, I saw your missed call on WhatsApp. You can call back, okay, and we'll pick the calls. But let's take some more messages. We'll take a call before we take the messages. It's still our election inauguration coverage right here on Lagos Talks 91.3. Okay, while we waiting for the next call, I see a message here. John in Ikeja says, congratulations to Mr. President. Welcome to a new era of a renewed hope in Nigeria. The campaigns are over. It's time for the real governance. No more excuses and stories. It seems to me, and I said this after the results of elections, gentlemen, were announced, and I think any of you have come to Guru, that Nigerians easily move on. Or let me put the way I said, Nigerians forget quite easily. Not as if we have a sense of national amnesia of sorts, a sense of, it's okay, let's just forgive, let's just move on, and John is one of those who really, really, really was bitter about the result of the election. Yeah. And today,
read his name, I was wondering which John
today I'm surprised that John is saying it's time for real governance. No, is that a good or bad thing, Guru? Mm-hmm. Is that a good or bad thing, sir?
Many things we endured in this country, dancing about them, laughing about them, had put governments asunder in other parts of the world. Mm. So if you take that for that, the resilience of Nigeria, the shock absorbing capacity that God created for those He decided to send to this country, because being God, He saw the end from the beginning, that that is the problem I will be having on this earth until everything. You remember after creation, some people went back to God protesting, and of course, the first person that came happened to represent the Americans, and God said He was crying and tearing Himself into pieces. God was begging, He said, sir, the way you created me, how many years would it take me with my seriousness to achieve? God looked at him and told him that in the next 50 years, you should be able to achieve if you carry this mentality to the end. The second one that came happened to be European, but maybe represented the British people that lacked land and others. And he exercised almost similar qualities that the first one that came, but not, the enthusiasm was not as fully packaged as the first one. And what happened? God asked him the same question, and he told God the same thing. God said, the way if you can demonstrate this to the end, within the next 100 years, you will be able to achieve it in life. Then the third one was coming. He represented the African race. Of course, he was a Nigerian, of course. And he was laughing, dancing, and doing everything. It took God to stand up from his seat. And God started crying. And he now was asking God questions. Say, why are you crying, Papa? I'm just come. You're coming now. Just to ask you how long. Then God said, I'm afraid you might not be able to make it in my lifetime. So, but we have so what he said that is typical Nigerian. And that's what all of us appreciate. That's why Nigeria is still in existence.
So we need this attitude is what we say.
Oh, yes. Let's move on.
We need to move on.
Let's package yesterday. Yes, yesterday is gone. Why are you talking too much about yesterday? Let's move on.
I'll come to Mr. Braithwaite because we're going around. Mr. Akin Braithwaite, I've said, and since we started hearing this move on thing, that there's a difference between moving on and moving forward. Would you agree that there's a difference between moving on and moving forward? And the move on that His Excellency, Mr. Guru, he needs a national honor. I don't know why they've not called him for that, because yes, one of those that I advocate for. The moving on that he's talking about may not necessarily mean moving forward. I'm not saying it's that, but
you interpreted me that I said otherwise.
No, it could be said.
You are misrepresenting me to Braithwaite now. No.
Okay, you said. Okay, let me rephrase my question. What do you think about his move on?
Yeah, I think I'll adopt what Honorable Dayo said, which is we need a reorientation. You see, it's both a good and a bad thing. If you say, look, just move on. If you keep doing that, then you're burying your head in the sand. There comes a time when you need to stand up and say, okay, what are the things that are wrong? And how should we deal with what is wrong? You don't just say, just move on, forget it. They say again, the fact that everything is quiet doesn't mean that there's not a war going on. So you really, really need to take cognizance of that look, you have some people who are hurting, and then you have a nation where there are lots of gaps. So what do? You just move on? No. You kind of have to stand up. You have to identify the things that are wrong. And, when my brother earlier was saying about America, the inflation rate in America is under 5%, right now. And they're screaming, like for them, it's like an Armageddon has come. If we keep expanding and allowing ourselves to have things that are going wrong, and we don't say, hey, look, listen, there's an emergency. A 22% rate of inflation is crazy. And what I expect now is that I expect us to see a new deal. A government has to come in, and just like what Roosevelt did in America, which is to say, look, listen, we need a real solid radical approach to this. The incremental resolution is not going to work in a crisis situation. So the new government, my expectation is that it needs to take this thing boldly, and it needs to address the fact that what should we do first about the young people? What should we do about the gaps that are happening? Yes, government shouldn't sort of step up and just kind of create jobs out of nowhere. But sometimes it actually needs to do that in an emergency. It needs to create public works, for example, where the private sector wouldn't find that, really profitable. But government has to kind of do it. The roads need to be fixed, create the jobs there. The agricultural aspect, food security, food production, create these and let people jump in. And let's start getting the youth to be engaged. Sports, open up the sports facilities all over the place. Get youth, to really get involved in these things. Open up the entertainment. There's a lot of things that I would expect. You said there's a lot to do. And I hope that the first team that are going to be deployed, understand that this isn't the time to just sit around and offer cushy contracts and whatever. It's the time to get something done that makes the people happy. A government has a responsibility. Even our constitution refers to it. In section 16, it talks about happiness. That's part of the government's responsibility to make. The Dubai guy talks about how he's told the people, his government employees, that their job is to make people happy. In Nigeria, coming to the airport, someone came, a business partner came into town about a week ago and was filled with horrendous stories about the what happened at the airport. They were kept there for 4 hours, and they were and at the end of it was, okay, what do you have for us? I mean, that's a reorientation issue. That is an emergency. We need to get an ethical dimension going now in this country. We've seen the worst. Let's now try and see how we get things better.
Okay, gentlemen, moving on. Okay,
All right,
would you?
Before you
Yes.
we need to take a short break right now.
Okay.
You know, I know today is inauguration, but we
Yeah.
have news at 12, and we have a couple. And I know I've
Absolutely.
stretched Mr. Akin Braithwaite. He was meant to spend like an hour, a little bit above that with us, but being the dedicated, committed Nigerian he is, I'm sure he wouldn't mind staying with us till like 3 p.m. But what? But we'll talk about that right about now. Let's take this short break, and when we come back from this break, we will continue with the analysis, the review of what really is going on in Nigeria. This is Lagos Talks 91.3.
Yes, indeed. Of course, there's a lot going on, and we'll keep you updated with our reports from Abuja, Ibadan, Lagos, and Port Harcourt. Stay with us.